Okay, we are on take 4 of this video. Let's hope that this is the last one, because if there is a hope that I get this out on Sunday, this has to be the last take. Anyway, I had a coffee, it is sunny outside, so today is a good day. Let's just hope that I can speak in full sentences. I also want to say that some of these books I have actually read more than one time, and something that I always just find so fascinating is how you'll resonate with different things at different times. Like, there have been moments where I've picked up one of these books at exactly the time where I needed to hear a certain message, and it always just blows me away because it just hits different sometimes when you read it at a certain time in your life when you're going through a certain experience. And as a lot of you may know, I love nonfiction books. I was actually pretty much solely reading nonfiction books for like 2 years straight, and now I've kind of ventured off into fiction again, and that has just been so fun. But I do have so many amazing recommendations for nonfiction books, and I feel like these are so perfect for anyone that is looking to kickstart their personal growth journey, or even if you're already well into it. I feel like these are just such amazing books. They are largely why I'm able to share the messages that I share on my channel today. Without these books, my mindset probably would not be where it is currently, and yeah, I'm giving a lot of credit to these books right now, and honestly, rightfully so. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, my name is Genevieve Mason, and I share content about ethical living, human optimization, personal growth, and also contortion, because I am a contortionist. Definitely a very interesting combination of niches, but it is what it is. That is just me. Anyway, if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely make sure to subscribe, because I would love to have you here. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the book recommendations. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about is actually the very first personal growth book that I ever picked up, and for that reason, it will always just hold a special place in my heart, and that is You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. This is definitely one of the most well-known self-help books out there. I just found that Jen Sincero's writing is so humorous and engaging, and she shares so many personal anecdotes in combination with the advice and the journal prompts that you can do as you read, and all of that combined just makes it so fun to read. I was not bored one single moment when I was reading this book. This book really dives into rewiring your mindset from the base up, so it goes into your outlook on yourself, your life, your goals, your actions, society as a whole, and how you fit into it. And it is just so good at building a foundation of a growth focused mindset, which is definitely the best thing you can have if you're looking to transform your life and just better yourself. Another thing that I absolutely love about this book, and I think is so powerful, is the way that it highlights how everyone does deal with limiting beliefs. And Jen Sincero really just does a brilliant job at helping you kind of separate yourself from those limiting beliefs and just really step into your true power. Just like any self-help book, there is of course some cheesy moments, but honestly, it just kind of makes the book better. I feel like if you're reading a self-help book, you kind of just have to be ready for the cheesy moments. It's so good. I highly recommend, as I'm gonna say with every single book in this video. Okay, the next one is also by Jen Sincero, and this is You're a Badass at Making Money. I know that a lot of you are kind of at a similar stage in life where you're trying to, build your income, gain that financial freedom, and ultimately that does start with your mindset around money and wealth building. I feel like wealth building is definitely a very crucial part of life, so I kind of just felt like it does fit in this video. But just like You're a Badass, this book combines personal anecdotes, success stories from clients of hers, as well as the advice and the journal prompts. And I feel like in this book in particular, the journal prompts are so helpful because you're given information and the journal prompts help you actually apply it and see how it fits into your life and what you're going through. I know that particularly money is something that so many people struggle with limiting beliefs around, and just sometimes a negative mindset surrounding it. And obviously, if you want to attract something into your life, you have to have a positive outlook on it and be attracting it from a good place. So this is, I just believe, so crucial for everyone to read. I know that there are so many finance books out there that you could read, but I think that the reason why I would recommend this one in particular is because just like her her other book, it's super humorous, so you're taking in information, but you're also highly engaged and entertained by it. So I personally just found this book extremely helpful for gaining clarity on my own financial goals. Okay, the next one is actually a Vancouver-based author, and I just think that is so cool, and that is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, Eckhart Tolle. I really should have looked this up. I also said this in my last take, still haven't done it, probably should have. Let's just look past that. But oh my gosh, the first thing I want to say about this book, it will make you think like nothing else. Like, some of the concepts in here are so thought-provoking and creative, and they just leave you like questioning everything, but in a good way. Obviously, the overarching message of this book is that we only ever have the now, the present moment. You can't live in the past and you can't fast forward into the future, which is something that I feel like everyone kind of struggles with. It's very actually kind of difficult to stay completely present in the moment at all times. I know in my own life, I am so often thinking so far into the future, and it definitely leaves me feeling just a little bit impatient, but that's my own issue. But I also think that one of the really strong messages in this book is the concept of dismantling the ego, which is kind of described as like the part of yourself that creates like false realities, that makes you overanalyze and stress about things and relive the past, think too far into the future. Ultimately, all of the things that kind of cause like inner turmoil within you. But in this book, the idea is that if you can separate from that, then you can take that energy and put it towards what you are trying to bring into your life, whether that's a certain job or just a better mindset, and also just really appreciate the present moment. And I think that that is definitely easier said than done, and that's something that this book doesn't really touch on, the fact that it is obviously really hard to just totally separate yourself from it. But I personally took this as a way to just be more conscious of where I was kind of directing my energy and when I was potentially letting my ego get out of hand. And I also want to note that something that this book I feel does extremely well is that literally anyone can read it. I feel like some personal growth books really tend to lean heavily into like one belief system or another belief system, but I feel like Eckhart Tolle really does a great job at finding like a middle ground, and I feel like it will appeal to like a very large demographic. But yeah, so many amazing ideas. This book is the one that I have actually read multiple times because it's kind of one of those books where every single time you read it, you're gonna pick up on different things and interpret things in different ways given like your current circumstance in life, and it just hits different. So next is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. This is actually one that I have recommended numerous times on my channel in the past, and every once in a while I actually get DMs from some of you saying that you've picked it up and are starting to read it, which I just think is so cool because that's actually how I found out about this book, was through watching one of the influencers that I follow. I just love it when that happens. But this book is definitely similar to The Power of Now in some ways, focusing on detaching from your ego so that you can live a more prosperous life, be in the present more. But this one I feel goes so much more inwards as opposed to outwards on like your outlook on life. This is all about self-discovery, really figuring out who you are outside of all of the like kind of preconceived identities that we're given. I actually might read it a little bit from the back. What would it be like to be free from limitations and soar beyond your boundaries? What can you do each day to find this kind of inner peace and freedom? The Untethered Soul offers a simple, profound, intuitive answer to these questions. Whether this is your first exploration of inner space or you've devoted your life to the inward journey, this book will transform your relationship with yourself and the world around you. The Untethered Soul begins by walking you through your relationship with your thoughts and emotions, helping you uncover the source and fluctuations of your inner energy. It then delves into what you can do to free yourself from the habitual thoughts, emotions, and energy patterns that limit your consciousness. Finally, with the perfect clarity, this book opens the door to a life lived in the freedom of your innermost being. I just think that is such a beautiful little synopsis. So this was kind of my first experience into the spiritual side of self-development, and I just think this was such a great introduction into that. And yeah, This was actually the second book that I read. I read this right after I read You Were a Badass, and it was kind of good because I had like, you know, the more easy to understand stuff, and then I had the spiritual stuff, and it was a good combination. I will note though, this book towards the end does get more into like Christianity and that type of belief system. Personally, I'm not religious, but I also feel like you can take something from anything, and some of the messages can, you know, be interpreted in a different way if you want them to. So I just did a simple word switch. Anytime it said God, I just said the universe in my head, and that worked fine for me. But yeah, if you're like super sensitive to that, then like maybe don't get this one. But I found so much incredible value in this book. So yeah. Okay, so this one I purposefully left till the very end because this is like not just one book, but it's like 5 books. It's like a whole syllabus. You might as well take a course in the Gene Keys because there is so much to unpack in this concept. This is the book. Literally, look, this is a brick. I'm gonna do my best to explain this, but just know that I'm probably not gonna do it justice, so I highly recommend doing your own research into the Gene Keys because it is such a big concept, and the first time I filmed this video, I struggled so much trying to explain it. So that's largely why I had to refilm actually, because I wanted to do this book justice, and I didn't do that the first time. I first heard about the Gene Keys and Richard Rudd on the Deja Blue podcast. She had interviewed him, and he really just talked about what the Gene Keys are and his history, like how he's acquired his knowledge. So I highly recommend checking that out if you are even a little bit interested in the Gene Keys. But from what I know, he did spend a lot of time in like the eastern side of the world, learning with a lot of spiritual leaders over on that side of the world. So this book is very heavily rooted in Eastern belief systems and traditions, and I just found that extremely fascinating. But this is kind of like the main book, and it has every single Gene Key, all 64 of them, and each Gene Key has a shadow, a gift, and a city. So it's like when you're operating at your lowest versus your most optimal state. And there are 3 kind of main sequences of the Gene Keys concept. There is your activation sequence, which is kind of like your life's purpose, your destiny, what you're here to do. Then there is the Venus sequence, which is like relationships and love. And then lastly, there is your Pearl sequence, which is like your vocation, what you're here to do, and what fulfills you. So kind of think of that one as like your career side of the Gene Keys. So in general, there's kind of 2 ways that you can read this book. The first way is just like any other book, like front to back, reading it in full. That's what I did. And the other way is kind of just dissecting your own individual Gene Keys, which you can find out more about on their website. I'm not really going to get into all of that, but even if you don't do it in that route, just reading it in full, I felt was such an interesting way to learn more about not only myself, but also the other people in my life and just society as a whole. It really dives into the underlying structures of the world and how it operates and why it operates the way it does. And just let me tell you, the accuracy of this book is insane. And I think that there are so many different ways that someone could interpret each one of these messages. So that is kind of the general gist of it. That is the best explanation I can give. It's also been a little while since I read this book, so it's not super fresh in my mind, but it is truly fascinating. So if you do give it a shot, I really feel like you're going to enjoy it. So those are all of my top nonfiction recommendations. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got some inspiration to add some new books to your own TBR list. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also comment down below one of your own book recommendations if you have one to share. I would love to know what you guys are reading as well. Here's my Instagram and TikTok if you would like to see more content from me. I've actually been posting daily on TikTok for the last little while, and I'm having so much fun with it. Anyway, that is all. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!